the Wolfe Tarot deck. Welcome everybody, I am Natalie Moss. Welcome to Natural Flow Alchemy. Welcome to creatives, healers, and mystics. This channel is for you, my creative entrepreneurs, my alchemical healers and creatives. So I'm in the process of moving my Natural Flow Alchemy brand under Sunbaker Studio. Sunbaker Studio being my interior design service, where I'm offering holistic interior design. I use human design as an aspect of that interior design service. I'm also a qualified interior designer. Let's do a card pull today from the Wolfe Tarot deck. So let's just sit back. What do we have today for the collective watching and engaging? This video might find you on any day. The Ten of Swords. So with the Ten of Swords, we have actually 10 snakes. And there's this element of falling. And, you know, as we're falling, we're about to hit the rock bottom. Something is coming to an end. You know, the fall is coming to an end. And we have the Hierophant. So with the Hierophant here, what we're really getting is that the further we fall, the higher we climb. The more that it costs to get somewhere, the grander the outcome. So that Hierophant is really that access, not just access to higher information that the High Priestess might gain, but with the Hierophant, it's really that ritual of tradition of where we might go or what we might provide. There's a type of wisdom, I guess, or a certain amount of trust, potentially even a bit of control with the Hierophant, and maybe a certain type of ruling or an expectation with you know, what you're gonna ask for when you get to that role of the Hierophant. What are you gonna ask for? What are you gonna ask people for in order to receive what you've got to offer and what you've got to give? So it's kind of like the death of an old way. We see with the Ten of Swords often in a more traditional deck, you know, something's really coming to a close. We've copped all of the swords that we could possibly cop. We have been stabbed into obliteration. And, you know, as that card is falling, as that, you know, figure in the middle there is falling with all of these snakes around us, it is about, you know, working out what I really see here is a lot of nuance as well. So it's not just about something dying off and coming to a death, but really what we collect there and that glory and sort of, let's just get it together for a second. And then we've got the Four of Swords. And the Four of Swords is really like coming to a rest and coming to a pause. Okay, so when we've got the Ten of Swords, as she's falling and as she's, you know, heading towards the bottom, it's like, what will be there when she falls? Will it be like a soft landing, or are we gonna like be pissed over the rocks kind of thing? Like, is it gonna be although this is not the Tower card, so it's not to say like it's the same type of deal as the Tower card. Something's coming to a close and an old way is coming to an end. And it does have to do with, you know, the price that we've paid in order to gain these lessons. something that we know now, this intellect, this intellectual or intelligence which we've gained through this fall, through the layers, through the levels, which brings us to, you know, a position to be called upon, and to ask for something in return, to ask for something that you get in return for the service that you offer, in return for experiencing the fall that you've had to go through. And this card as well speaks to that nuance of, you know, the gains, but also the fear. So it's to do with, you know, sometimes what we hope for, hope to achieve, hope to obtain, that status that we hope to obtain will also be scary. Like, we'll be afraid of it. That's kind of where the snakes are coming in. You know, becoming the Hierophant is a responsibility. Becoming this wise person or this sage person is scary. There might be not a lot of other people sitting up on this hill with you. It's fairly isolating, fairly lonely. So the Four of Swords asks us to reflect, asks us to sit back and take stock and rest, to not proceed, to meditate. Maybe it's about meditating on the experiences that we've gained and how we'll position ourselves in this Hierophant situation. It can also be with the Hierophant that we're needing to seek out the person who is in that role as the Hierophant. But for me in this reading, it's really about the person receiving the reading. This is about us. And we have a final card here to close out this little mini reading. And we have two. So we have the Three of Swords and we have the Queen of Cups. The writing here might be backwards. I can't tell. The Three of Swords, often to do with a bit of heartache and a bit of heartbreak. Something that we expected or had an expectation of is not occurring in the way or the fashion, or it doesn't feel like we think it should, or in that attempt for that attempt at love, or that attempt of fulfillment has actually ended up feeling less fulfilling than we would have initially expected or imagined. But with the Queen of Cups, what I think we're looking at is something that builds into something stronger and more personally assured than it would have been with, you know, the expectation that we had around that heart fulfillment. We're now skipping over potentially one relationship or an individual. Maybe it's just, you know, that we're going from one single experience that was disappointing into creating a world where all of the experiences are held and honored and sacred, and from this stability of the Queen, the stability of a full cup, somebody who can handle all situations, all relationship, all emotions, all, you know, different ways of feeling through the depths of experiences. And the Queen, you know, it's kind of like this, it's the long game with the Hierophant here. So the long game is about the long fall and moving towards that position which we might be afraid of, and it's time to reflect and meditate on what that means for us as we come into that role with the Hierophant and the Queen of Cups, who can, you know, manage and handle the various responsibilities that will be asked of them. I'd love to hear from you. Please pop a comment below how that resonated for you. I'd love to hear your stories and how you've connected to this information. If you'd like to have a reading with me, if you'd like to get a human design analysis, and if you're interested in holistic interior design, please stick around, please subscribe, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and yeah, I would love to hear from you and engage with you. So check out my website, sunbakerstudio.com.au, and you can make bookings through there for all of my services. Yeah, just be in touch. So have a beautiful day.